Welcome to the JoContractor Show, a podcast created by three regular Joes. The JoContractor Show is a place where trade professionals, business owners, and homeowners looking for solid advice and amusement can hear stories of great success and great failure in the turbulent and unpredictable world of construction. On the JoContractor Show, we dig deep into the realm of remodeling and construction. We chat with construction trade professionals, business owners, and homeowners alike. We support local independent contractors and those who put their trust in the hands of these capable and hardworking business owners and tradespeople. We discuss construction and home maintenance from multiple angles, and we do it with compassion, purpose, and humor. Listen as Lori, Merrick, and Sam, along with a wide variety of guests, explore topics related to construction, home ownership, small business creation, and more. A quick reminder, don't forget to send your questions to questions@JoContractorshow.com. And after you've done that, please take a moment to hit the like button, subscribe, or talk about us tomorrow morning at the local coffee shop. We appreciate feedback and critique, and it lets us know that you're out there and that you care.
We're jumping right in.
Yep.
So
perfect.
Here we are. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the JoContractor Show.
Hi,
guys.
everybody. Oh, that's right. We are jumping. We did jump right in.
I already started it. Yeah. Well, our guest today has to leave. Has a hard stop at 5. So we're going to jump in and just start talking.
All right.
Yeah. And our guest is Damaris.
Damaris Hollingsworth, designed by Melo, founder and principal architect.
There you go.
So we have an amazing architect here, from what I understand. We're going to learn a little bit more about her.
Yeah. That's what I hear. I have seen you all over the place on LinkedIn and other social media stuff. So,
And her name has been popping up. Remember when we had that luncheon with the banker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, Damaris.
You got to meet Damaris." And I said,
"We are about to."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did it come about that you invited her on the show?
Sam did.
I always do this.
Oh, okay.
It's odd.
It was
crazy.
Sam's fault. I was at. I had an interview at NPR with Angela Davis, and then I think I got a LinkedIn note from you after that.
Probably that day.
Yeah, that day. Yeah. It's that day.
If I hear it on the radio, I'm like, sure. Let's see. Well, and you decided to join our humble little show. This is great.
Oh, this is fun. Yeah, I like doing this. I wish somebody paid me for it. So
Yeah.
We wish people paid us for it too.
I'll do this all day.
Someday.
You're speaking our language.
They'll be paying us for it later, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. I'll receive that.
Yeah.
So I want to hear, Damaris, I tried not to dig too deep like I'd mentioned, because I want to hear it today. And how did you, as you're a woman of color, and from Brazil, correct? And how in the hell did you end up in Minnesota doing architecture?
So the architectural part was like way back then. So I was a kid, a 7-year-old, and the first professional woman that I ever saw was an architect. And it was not what she did, it was what she represented, I guess, her presence, her powerful presence. So if she was an accountant, I'd be an accountant. Thank God she wasn't.
Do you think you would have learned a proficiency for accounting just because of that?
I think I would just be so disappointed at her for inspiring me to do the wrong thing. But then she was an architect, and then I remember really asking what she was, not because of the work she was. I didn't know what she was doing in my house. I just noticed her. But then later on, as I kept watching the meetings that my dad had with her, I noticed the scale, and I thought that was really cool object. So I thought that was cool, but my first attraction to her was not that. It was not the scale, it was not the drawings, it was her presence.
Sure.
Because I wanted to be a professional woman. And then, of course, I went to Brazil. Nice. I was in Brazil. I went to University of São Paulo. And that was my biggest dream ever. Didn't think I could dream any bigger than that. Once I'm there, I keep hearing about all this stuff, about people that go overseas and they do exchange program. Like, I wanted that. And
but you mean like America?
America, Europe,
We're not
everywhere.
Overseas, though.
No, when I was in Brazil. I say when no, you're not. You're over
you can just go right up
the shit there, yeah. It could go Earth, but I think you'd be in trouble crossing Colombia or Amazon.
It's not easy.
There's a canal.
You'd be safe. There's a canal there. And I wanted to go somewhere and then send letters everywhere asking for scholarships. But I didn't speak English. So I had to have friends of mine translating my letters so I could request scholarships. I got a pile of no's. And that was this thing I thought was super cool, that even though it was a no, they still wrote back.
Sure.
I thought that was cool. Respectful, at least. And my mom kept that pile of no's forever because she thought that was fascinating how polite they are.
Well, and especially in this day and age of ghosting, when people just don't even, yeah.
And I remember I didn't know English again. My friends translated it for me. So I remember very quickly I learned what regret means. If we start with regret, that means they're not going to give me a scholarship. I regret to inform you. Like,
Right.
Another one.
And you're like, what does that mean? Am I
So
in?
then,
I
what
can
does
just see
regret
you,
mean?
were you running out to the mailbox each day like,
I get my book and trying to find what regret. Okay. But then there was a poster in my school offering scholarships full scholarship for kids to come to Arizona State in Arizona, and that was a full ride, tuition, books, food, airplane, everything.
Oh, nice.
I only had to bring my life cost of living money, which I also didn't bring. But anyhow, I applied, and it was very, very competitive, and I got in. I was one of 4 spots. I got the 3rd spot, and then I arrived in Arizona without English. And then that was one of those things that you just figured it out, right? You're here, you're supposed to be speaking because you're in school. And you're supposed to be presenting, by the way, your project. I was making up a language. That's a whole other hour. I had to come back for another hour for that one.
And you didn't bring any money.
Even how I got in here through all the process. They never tested me because it was rushed. I got here, I didn't speak English in Arizona. And I learned quickly. You have to, right? When you're immersed. Right. And nobody was helping me. And my friends, they were Brazilian, they made their... they were not like, okay, we're going to be accountable. So you're going to have to be accountable to us. We are not going to enable you. You're going to make you speak. So I started speaking 2-3 months in. But then I was Arizona State, got an offer for work there. So I had to get through all the visa applications, all of that fun stuff. So after that, I went to grad school, also sponsored by my employer, RSP Architects, so they took care of everything. And my last semester, met my ex-husband, got married, and was married for 2009 to 2012, and then he got a job in Ramsey County. And because RSP is also here, so they have an office there, like, oh, that's easy, I can just transfer. And then that's how I got here. So when people say, what is a Brazilian doing in Minnesota? It's not my fault.
Yeah, I mean, the way you phrase that, it almost sounds like we think there's something wrong with Brazilians being in Minnesota.
No, it's just a contrast, like the weather.
That's right. It's because I think Brazil is probably way prettier.
And their personality too.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Like when I came here, I had to learn how to not be on people's face.
Oh, because Brazilians are in your face?
Right here, and we touchy, and we kiss, and we hug, and all of that. And I was like, what did I do wrong? Why did this guy just jump back?
You can't grab a stoic Minnesotan
and kiss a chick like, hi, mwah, and you're like, whoa, I'm sorry. So even Arizona was interesting, but here was a little more. So I always say, if I had come straight from Brazil here, I think I would have gone back. Yeah. Because people are very nice, but they're not necessarily open to that proximity and on my space. So I think I would be returned down. Like I think I would be just like, okay, no, I can't be here. And it's cold, and it's cold, and it's cold, right?
How's
I feel
that?
like it would be really... I don't think I would have stayed in Minnesota if my first stop was here. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah.
No, that's a big jump.
It is a jump, culturally and also weather-wise. So yeah, so that's why I got here. I got here because I was a faithful wife. I was like, I always joke this because I got married in America and then in Brazil. So I said twice in 2 languages, I'll follow you. So here I am.
But you ditched both of them?
Ditched me.
They ditched you?
Yeah.
Are you just that much trouble?
No, I said, no. I married here and in Brazil the same person.
Oh, confused.
So I had to kind of, I said it twice, so I might as well follow through.
And then did you start the business here right away?
In Minnesota? No, it was not right away. So like I said, I transferred to RSP Architects here.
That's kind of a little outfit, right?
It was a whole difference. Say it again.
That's a little outfit, right? I mean, isn't that one of the biggest?
Yeah,
in town?
Yeah. So then in Phoenix, they were a 50 people firm.
Okay.
Very diverse. I had the best mentor manager I could have. So like, go ahead, take your rightful place, make mistakes, come back, learn. The company here is very large, so I kind of disappeared in that. And especially I was so naive. I came here with this expectation that I'll be the same situation here. Like, everybody would be like, come on in, we're gonna help you grow. And it wasn't, because it's a big company, so it's more competitive, right? So people are looking at you like, what are you doing here? Like, and especially because now I realize that my manager there and the principal in charge there were biggest support of me, right? So they sent me here with all this praise. That wasn't good for me.
They hyped you up too much?
Yeah, so it was kind of not good. So then I decided to leave and go to another place. I mean, I still have major respect for them. I'm here because of them, right? So that was my difficulty too, to leave them.
Right.
Because of like, I owe them. Even now, I literally just saw my principal in Phoenix here. He was here for a meeting, and I saw him at dinner. And literally, my heart, I teared up looking at him. It's like, oh my gosh, like this guy is the reason I'm here, right? And I'm doing so well.
Right.
Yeah, but you got to give yourself some credit too.
Yes, of course. But I feel like I don't take those opportunities for granted, because they didn't have to, right? I could be great right back home. And I said, you know what? No, let's stay here. We take care of you. So after that, I moved on to a couple companies. And then that was when I started realizing the story that I kept hearing from women, especially women architects, the ceiling, and there's the ceilings right here, and you can never break through. And then like, what are you talking about? I'm doing so well. I'm thinking, I didn't say that. I was not that. But I was like, I'm doing well. So I have been growing steadily, right? Then it started happening to me. And I'm like, okay, so maybe it's the same problem in every firm. So what am I going to do? Am I going to be popping up in firms every year or two until the ceiling that is right here, I got to it too quickly. So I decided to, for the first time, I thought about starting a business. That was in 2017, 16. But I had no understanding.
That's running a business is different than being an architect.
Totally different.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I was not even certified nationally. So then I got my NCARB certification. So that means I have reciprocity all over the country. So I started getting myself ready from the practice side, but business, again, I have no idea. I didn't know what P&L was, what FTE was. I didn't know anything about business. So I took a job at Thor. So that was the whole thing. I knew I had to, if I was going to do this, I had to have a project. Because every time I talked to three folks that have small firms here, a friend of mine. They all said it takes a couple of years
to build up a clientele.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm like, well, I was the breadwinner of my house. So like, okay, I cannot have an income for 2 years.
Yeah. Right.
Everyone's going to starve. So I had to jump with a client. And that was like, where am I going to find a client? Like, how do you hustle for a client when you're employed, right? So I went to some place I thought there was no relationship whatsoever, which was I went to Thor Companies. Thor Company was the big black-owned contractor. I said, you know what, if you guys need an architect for any design build, consider me. I would love to have a project to start my company. And I explained the whys. I can't afford to hustle for 2 years. And then at the time it was Ravi Norman, the CEO. He said, well, instead of doing that, why don't you come and join us? Because we have just started the architectural position, the division, and we don't have an architect. So that's how I thought it was like the best of both worlds,
yeah, that's
right?
A great move.
Because I still had to run the division, which was, I didn't know I was practicing for my own firm. So
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It was like a crazy, I felt disqualified almost every day for the whole first year, I would say. And even when they sent me the offer, the job description, I remember literally putting red lines in more than 70%. And they sent it back to them.
I don't know
and
what
said,
that means.
I don't know how to do any of these. And I remember Ravi's assistant saying, oh, that's refreshing. Because nobody says it. They were like, oh, sure, I'll do it.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I don't even know what they mean. Like, I need to Google it.
So
like,
you
I don't
did,
know.
when you put the red lines through, you took it back to him and said,
I don't know how to do it. And he said, okay, these things we can teach you. Your personality, your passion, you can't. So these are teachable things.
Oh, that's a really
so
good
we're
response.
hiring you for you, not for,
Yeah.
we can teach you this in a hard
Yeah,
way. So.
and respecting the fact that you were honest about what you
Oh,
didn't know.
absolutely.
It's like people are afraid to do that, but it's the better way to do
It's
it.
very
rare.
refreshing.
If it was not so bad, if it was like 40%, I probably would not. But it was like 80% or so. I did not know.
That is a
I
lot.
wanted to do 20% of my job. So it was, I had to say something like, it's really outside of my comfort. And it was really, in meetings, I would be Googling things. Like, they'd be like saying something, I was like, ROI in the context of development. And pretending I was not doing it, like, oh. And then your FTEs, like, what the fuck is FTEs? Like, FTEs in the context of employment. And I literally did that for a lot.
I have to do that all the time too.
And sometimes I don't understand things because of my second language, so I had to literally be trying. So what that could be? Maybe it was not that word. So I keep saying, now I speak to my phone.
Oh, yeah.
And my phone can hear.
Well, the English
basically.
language is super easy too, because there's always like 6 words that are the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because English just helps that
Yeah.
way. Exactly. So I have to say in the context of, and then like sometimes I figure it out, sometimes I don't. Like, okay, but that was the thing. I learned a lot about business in those 2 years until they went out of business.
Yep.
And then I had to think: do I go back get a job? Do I start my firm? And I went for the second. So I thought, if not now, I don't think I can do it, because I had the relationships, I had the, that was in the moment of growth and learning. And like, if I have access to, CEOs of large corporations right now, if I go back, take a job, in 2 years, I'll be like, remember Thor, remember me from Thor? Like,
Right.
what? Who? So I thought, that's it now, I have my chance. So that's what I did. I took a chance.
So why are
And
you
that
in the
was-
news? No, I'm serious.
Say it again.
I don't remember. Why are you in? What is what's pushing this whole thing with you in the media so much lately?
Gosh. Okay, there's a side of me. I don't know. There's 2 reasons, I think. One is my approach to architecture, right? The inclusive, but also the curiosity. The article that came out today at Enter talks a lot about that, because we have a 2-hour conversation about it. It's really my way of approaching design from a place I don't know what you need. You tell me. I know how to take what you need and turn that into a design, but I'm not here to tell you what you need, right? And I think that is very different from a lot of architects that we call the God complex, right? You think you need it, but we actually need, because I am trained. So what you really need is this. You think you need this. And I don't have that posture at all. And I also enjoy the discovery. I love getting to a new project, especially the new typologies, right? I have never done a prototype, for instance. And I know that can be scary to the client sometimes to hire, because what if, right? But I feel like you can design a building. What makes the difference between typologies is how the building operates, right? Mm-hmm. And that is a discovery that I love. I want to understand, what do you do every day? How do you do it? And I talk to your staff, and I talk to your team, and your tenants, and your patrons, and then I come up with the building. But I don't do that. I can design a building that then responds to those needs. So I think that is why. And sometimes there's a side of me that thinks, why is that so different? Shouldn't it be that way?
But I think you said it with
that.
well, first, that you are open to just learning and growing and learning, from your taking your risks and your chances. And then, like you said, most architects have their design style or whatever it might be, or they're shooting for,
Yeah, they do tend to push. I've noticed the architects that I've worked, not all of them. I'm not going to put them all in the same category, but sometimes you'll say this needs to get done, and then they'll say, "Oh, okay, but we're going to do it this way," and you're like, "No, that's way too complex, way too confusing."
Yeah, and I think there's this. I don't know if it's the. I don't know if it's the fact that I grew up really always as the outsider, so I always have to understand what's happening first. So it becomes a practice of, let me include myself in this dynamic so I know what's going on, so I can respond to you.
Yeah.
Might be that, or maybe just really this is my approach. I believe if I'm designing for you, I need to know you so I can design something that reflects you. If I don't know you, it's going to be my design. It reflects me. And I'm going to give you, it's not even like once I go away, why does your space reflect me when I'm not even there?
Right.
I might never come back, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
You're
that's
going to
a
leave,
repeat
and
client.
they're going to say, why did we do this?
It's like, oh yeah, because the nice architect said we'd be better.
Yeah.
I think you kind of, like, if I could sum it up, I think it's because you're fun.
Thank you. I like to think that too.
Most architects aren't very fun,
that's
right?
a good point. Yeah.
So
That
you
is
like
one
to
thing
go
too.
have fun with people.
Yes, I love that part. And I think that is funny you say that because I did a leadership training at AIA many years ago, 2017. And we had the Myers-Briggs personality test. And I always felt like a duck out of the water with my crowd, right? With the architects crowd. So that test put me in the exact opposite of the majority of architects.
Yes,
Sure.
right.
Yeah.
So my ESFJ and everybody else is like, not that. The opposite. And I'm
they're
like,
not emotional. They're not.
Extrovert.
Yeah.
Chronic extrovert myself, right? I need humans. I need to see people, talk to people. And it's like, everybody was like, the other opposite, like it was a quadrant, and I was here, everybody was here together. I'm like, that's why, that explains everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like I feel like that.
So it does set you
my-
apart from all the other, from a lot of other
A lot of them,
architects.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, what is your niche? Like, what do you work? Is it residential? Is it commercial?
Yeah.
Is it wealthy people? Is it middle class? What is your like?
Yeah, what does
My
any
passion.
architect
So,
do?
Okay, yeah, what do we all do? We did do my daughter says, so you do that and they pay you when she saw me drawing. Like, so you do drawings and they pay you? Like, they do. They can draw.
That's it.
So yeah, we draw. That's it. So I do commercial, mostly commercial. Mostly I'll say why later, but within commercial, my big passion is for community impact projects, meaning what we call civic architecture or community center, teen centers, anything that really impacts community every day. Because I think that leaves a mark. It's not just like a one group of people that gets the benefit once. It's like it keeps on going. It keeps on giving, right? If you are doing a teen center, like we're designing a teen center right now for Brooklyn Park.
Totally.
It's going to be a 50-year building. It has to be, right? Because they put all this money in it. So imagine that 50 years, how many generations are going to come through that building and do job training? It's going to, and things that we are helping them shape, not only the building, but the program, right? So what is it that would impact you for the rest of your life? We could change the whole history of your family, right? It's a shift in the generation. Now you can go and get a job that pays you $60,000. Nobody ever made that in your family. So that to me is what I want to do. I wish I could just do that kind of project. Mm-hmm. Now I'm doing a lot of affordable housing projects, and I love doing that too because of the impact. But it's a very temporary fix, right? Affordable housing for rent, affordable housing ownership. Affordable home ownership is a different story, but affordable homes for rent is really a fix for a much deeper wound. So it's like a Band-Aid. So when I'm working in those other community projects, I feel like I'm working in the wound. While we might have, because think about it, if you need to subsidize home, if you make $30,000 a year, affordable housing won't really change. It's going to give you stability and comfort, but you won't change your story. You won't change the territory of your family. So affordable housing, I have that mixed feeling about it. I know it's needed for now, but it has to be part of a bigger system that it's almost a rotation. These families are here, but they're doing these other things. They're learning how to do a profession, trades, whatever, and then they move on. There's another cast that comes in until we are done and everybody has a home. That's the dream that I have. But then,
love it.
I do a lot of affordable housing. I'm doing some educational, and then recently I did my own home, which I thought I would never do residential, not because I don't like it, because I felt so personal. It would be very hard. With the passion I put in to understand people, and I keep imagining a couple, and two of them want different things. So I could not see myself ever reconciling that.
There's always one that is in charge, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
Like we all do construction.
But it is a very emotional.
It's totally
It has to be
emotional.
very emotional.
I like
Totally.
working commercial more because it's not an emotional engagement most of the time.
Yeah.
And if they don't agree, what do you do? Who do you follow? And I did my own home by accident. Couldn't find the home I was looking for.
Now, are we talking like from the ground up, or are we talking
No. I bought
renovation?
a foreclosed a home that had been abandoned for 2 years and a half.
Wow. What year?
I just did it. I just moved in June.
What year is the house?
Oh, 1932.
Okay. So yeah, that's needs some
And
work
that
probably.
had a renovation that they did a major renovation in 2003.
Okay.
They added an attached garage to it and a bedroom upstairs. But it was the weirdest layout. The first floor was nice, but the second floor had the weirdest layout, and the basement was ripped apart because they had water infiltration. So I bought that house because I saw it. I could see it especially the first floor. And I know I can fix the second floor. We can finish the basement again, but it is the first floor and the garage, attached garage, was what sold the house.
Okay.
Got in, open walls, major mess. Pipes burst.
Well, now we're talking a whole different animal here. This is an architect.
Sounds like my house.
Yeah. It sounds like every house I work on.
Well, I mean, this is the JoContractor show. So you went through the experience of designing it yourself, but then being your own contractor too, or
no? I didn't hire a GC. But then it was.
You did, or you didn't?
I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah. I had a GC, and that was the thing. It became every time he called me, my heart palpitated because it's like. It's something else. Yeah. And sometimes he would trick me. Can you come over to look at the floor? Like, because every time I go in there, the floor. And by the way, when you open that wall, I'm like, so every time he called me, he'd be like, is it really the floor or something else? Because I need to prepare my heart for it. It was too much of that. It was way too much of that. But it was so interesting because through that whole process, I started realizing, okay, it is painful, but mostly painful because it's my bank account that's being hit every time.
Right. That's why working for homeowners is so hard.
It is. It is like, so you start getting resentment. Like, I felt like I could not, I won't even tell his name, but I felt like I couldn't look at him for a little while. Like, every time I see you, you have a problem for me. So I don't like you.
Yeah, it happens.
I really don't.
It always gets worse before it gets better.
Oh, man.
I'm always that person.
Well, we all have been GCs.
Yeah,
so
and it's hard.
like inevitable.
Yeah, and as a homeowner, it's hard to separate because every time you show up, something's bad, and I have to spend $5,000. So I started like. Oh, and by the way, the day before I was moving, so I was literally just walking through with the cleaning crew. It was Thursday, I was moving in a Saturday. So I was there, they would come on Friday, clean the house. I just passed this kitchen and then, the unit went out. And they said it so casually, and I'm like, what do you mean?
The unit went out? Is there
the unit, and pointing to the HVAC unit.
Oh, no.
Like the compressor. And I was like, what do you mean? And I was irritated because, like, if it is what I'm thinking it is, you can't just say that way, right? No. You have to give me a hug first, sit me down, and like,
I get it.
That or something. Especially the day before you're cleaning to move in, and like you can't just say that in a way like you're saying, oh, by the way, it's 2 p.m. You can't say it that way. You have to give me some like, sit down. Are you okay? Give me some water or whatever. And then hug me after, right? Don't just keep walking. So that was my 2 days before the big move. So the guy came to clean the house. No air conditioner.
But
it was the first hot day.
Broken?
It was the first, it was broken.
Oh.
So, and because the guy, when I did the very first 2003 big reno, they put in the high velocity.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So everything attached to that thing is expensive.
Yeah.
So either I change everything to bring everything to my budget level, which makes no sense. There's $20,000, or I fix that one machine that everybody else could pay $3,000. I had to pay $5,500 because it's for high velocity, whatever. So I was so irritated. By then I was so irritated because I couldn't have. But then I love the house now. Love it. So
have you gotten a couple of years in there now?
No,
or?
3 months.
Oh, 3 months.
3 months. Are you able to?
So the money doesn't matter anymore?
It does. And also it was kind of interesting though. I didn't do it for this reason, but the value of the home now, I didn't do it as an investment, right? I did because I couldn't find a house. Let me just get this and renovate a little bit. It was a lot bit. And then now we really have amazing equity like that.
Well, you told me sorry, Sam.
Oh, no, go ahead.
You told me the location, and you can't, if you bought it foreclosure, it was definitely worth it if you put money into it.
Yeah. There are certain parts of town you can put a whole bunch of money in. It was
really not that study. I didn't study that. It was just like a house that I found that had a attached garage. I'm part-time. I'm a single mom, right? So part-time I am by myself. So I had that concern. Like, I don't want to park. I have to walk. I want in the city. So I don't want to go with the burbs. Then I don't want to go to the burbs. I want to stay in the city. And I want an attached garage. And then I also, and in my real estate, I'm like, in the city.
It's true.
In the city, attached garage, totally. In the city. Oh, and then open floor plan. Oh, and walk-in closet. And she's like, you can't find that.
You're reinforcing these stereotypes that I have in my head about Colombians. Like, you just like, I just want that one. Like, you just went out. You didn't,
yes, and that's me too. I mean, I don't know about Colombianism, but I definitely, that's Damaris. Asking my mom, it's like, this, you want something, you want it because you wanted it, you wanted it now.
You just go and do it.
But it's kind of what we talked about a little earlier too, about rolling with it. And you found what you wanted, you rolled with it, you didn't even consider anything. And look at how lucky you were when you ended up done.
Yeah, and then now I just like, I still don't have money for the furniture, but because I spend it out in the house. But I walk to the house and I love it. It's everything now is finished from top to bottom. We end up touching everything.
Wow.
Yep.
Super modern. Did I send you the link? I think I sent you the link.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't think I looked.
Because then everybody keeps saying, you have to do this for it. That's why I was going there with your question, America, because everybody keeps saying, you have to do this. You have to start doing this now. So I might get into residential now. Who knows? If I have clients, I would go.
We'll have to take a little break, but I do. Before we do that, I want to ask, like, so first of all, a couple part question here. Are you on good terms with your contractor now?
Yes. No, I like them. I like them. Yeah.
There's always that point.
I know.
Every project where you don't like your contractor.
We were all holding our breath.
Yeah, I mean,
they were awesome. Yeah.
Have you told your clients? Because I used to tell my clients all the time, like, look, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I could tell you it's going to be 4 months, but it's going to be 6 months.
I always say it's not.
There's going to be a period of time in the middle where you don't like me,
right?
Yeah.
And I'm not doing anything to hurt you, but I just need to get through this, and I'm going to be the one dragging you through it. You know.
Yeah.
So I get exactly
like a personal trainer.
Yeah. Oh, it's like a life coach. Yeah.
Like, I hate you, but you're doing what I paid you to do. So.
I like this. Here's some water and a hug thing, because that's kind of the way I try to approach it. Where I'm like, I'm going to emotionally support them to some degree through it, and I think a lot of contractors miss that part, and they're just like, oh, big problems.
Those are the ones that make money.
Oh,
yeah. I'm a hugger, so I'm like, don't worry about it. We'll get through it. I won't charge you what it's worth.
That's one thing though that I have to say. I do like my contractor again. I even recommend him to a couple of people already. But there's something about, okay, by the way, the window is rotten. So if you buy a Home Depot, I can replace that for you. What does that mean? That does not mean they're doing it for free.
No.
Well, it sounds like it could be for free.
And that is the part that I like. It could be explained to me better, because they had to do the trims anyway. So the trims, retrimming it was part of the scope. Replacing the windows was not. Like putting it off.
And there is a cost
I had to pay for the windows. That's clear. But we take care of that for you. If I
That's
tell someone,
not a great way to say
I'll
it.
take care of that for you, to me it means don't worry about it, I got it.
Yeah.
I won't. So I think that was a lot of things so the windows were kind of clear. Of course, I did realize it was a big scope, so how much is that going to be? And they said whatever per window. But there was smaller things, a lot of them. There was always
and
like,
they
I don't
got
want
you for those? Like you got a change order at the end for all those? That's the stuff that I never...
They're like, I don't have money. What now?
But now you're feeling better about it all.
I am feeling better.
It's only
I still
money.
keep thinking, looking at the house and thinking, should I sell this thing? Like, I can't sell it yet. I love it too much.
Do you ever? I would imagine if I drew fancy things like that I would want to draw a house that I would build from scratch for myself at some point. Do you ever do that?
I would like to do that one day. Yeah. I was not ready for that. I mean, it was. Though I spent almost so much. No, I did.
You probably did.
Well, you thought at one point.
Yeah, I would not be able to afford to spend $600,000 in a house. I didn't think I could. $20,000 at a time. You get there. But
you sure do.
And then, but I think I still want to do, because that would be. I really had to do it from scratch, because I have some stuff that I want. Like, for instance, where the powder room goes, and how because
not by the kitchen. That's where it goes, not near the kitchen.
I don't know if it's by the kitchen, but it's definitely on my way arriving at the house and don't have necessaries, And it's all this thing about the way I live my life, which I think is exactly how I design it for other people.
Yeah.
I want to hear how you do it,
yeah.
So then I can design to that. So I would design to my style. So I don't think the houses exist.
Yeah.
So I had to create it.
I mean, I would assume you guys would want to build your own house too.
Of course.
Yeah.
The only reason I say not by the kitchen is because I always think it's very strange when you open a door in the kitchen to a bathroom.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
totally awkward.
And then the
it's
dust.
like that's
oh my
the
gosh.
wrong place for
and
that.
The dust
Somebody might
room.
want it,
Why
though.
don't every house have a dust room?
Yeah,
Because
a great mud room, a dust room.
Yeah, mud room. Sorry. Yeah. See the second language.
That's all right. You're close.
A mud room is like necessity, in my opinion. Otherwise, there's always a place in your house that's messy. Now I have a resemblance of it. So you walk into the house, this little area that is nothing. But so then everybody dumps everything there. But I still see it.
Yeah.
I don't like seeing it.
Yeah.
So I feel like why it should be like this as necessary as a bathroom. Like
Well, and a mudroom should have one like a shower base.
for the
You know, like one of those little
Yes.
shower bases, so you can
Yeah.
wash the dogs right there.
No,
you can wash your
the
boots off.
in the winter,
Yeah.
in Minnesota especially.
Yeah.
It's just so disgusting when you get home.
Well, if
in
you
the
get into residential, you can do that all the time.
I would do that every project, even if it's I have to sacrifice something else. The mud room is here.
All right, we will take a very short break and then come back.
We will be back to the show after a few quick ads from our valued sponsors. Wonder Woman Construction is a Minneapolis-based, woman-owned residential and commercial construction and electrical company. Lori and her team pride themselves on their commitment to long-term green and sustainable building practices, and they apply their deep understanding of building science to each project they take on. They are dedicated to the complete satisfaction of every client. One more thing that you absolutely cannot miss about Wonder Woman Construction is the fact that every employee loves what they do and truly enjoys working with each other. The best projects are those that are done by happy people, and Wonder Woman Construction is full of happy people. Visit WonderWomanConstruction.com to get started on your happiest project ever. Kinetic Legacy is the company that powers the JoContractor app. Their unique platform blends the good parts of social tech with their one-of-a-kind data organizing system, giving communities large and small a safe, private space to stay connected and to keep information and memories organized. If you and your community have a shared purpose or passion and are looking for a better way to stay connected, contact Kinetic Legacy today at kineticlegacy.us. Find out how groups from contractors to campers, tribal communities, unions, and alumni organizations are finding their way to meaningful new spaces in this increasingly digital world. Again, that's kineticlegacy.us. The JoContractor Show doesn't let just any old company put an ad in the middle of a show this important. They have to pay us. Send us an email if you're certain your business should be featured on our show.
All right, we're back for the second half. We've got Damaris Hollingsworth. Hollingsworth or
Hollingsworth,
Okay.
yeah.
Is there a G in there?
There's a G in there. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not my name, but
I was going to say, there's no G's usually, right?
So that does not sound very
In Brazilian.
Brazilian.
No, my maiden name is Melo. Damaris Melo.
That makes
and
more
that's why
sense.
designed by Melo.
Oh,
Yeah.
Look at that.
So I have been telling myself I'm gonna change my name back since I got divorced. But until when I got divorced, I was in the middle of my passport application, and was it passport? No, citizenship. Sorry, application. And I was like, I'm not gonna mess this up, right? Because it's like it changed their name, and then that was already not very immigrant friendly in that time in this country. Like, I'm not gonna give them any chance to say, you know what? No.
Right.
So I waited out, and by the time I got my citizenship, it's so much work. I mean, you guys don't know this, but it's a lot of work to change names. So you should feel very loved if a woman is willing to change name for you.
I'm in the middle of that with my girls who are adopted. So I'm changing post divorce, changing their last name my last name.
Right.
Which is,
it is a lot.
It's a whole.
It is a lot
it's
of
a whole
work.
thing.
Well, and I happen to be one of the few men you'll run into who has a maiden name I changed my name.
You did?
Yes, I took my wife's name.
Don't you love
completely.
Sam even more?
I do now, yeah. Even though you're a contractor.
What a teddy
part of the
bear.
time. Yeah, she's the youngest of 3 daughters to a man who's an only child. She's the death of the lineage, so I took her name. But
Nice.
like the federal government, the state government, none of them liked it.
Oh, yeah, of
they're
course
like,
not. What
you
are you
can't do
doing?
that. I got 6 driver's licenses sent to me because they couldn't get it straight. So I know what you're talking about. It's a real pain in the butt.
And now my licensure, everything's under Hollingsworth. So I keep saying I'm gonna go back to Melo. And now that I'm with someone talking about marriage, and they're like, okay, I might take that chance to change it back to Melo.
Right. No, you can't do that now, can you?
Yeah, I could do it in the middle of it, even now, without any reason. But it is just a lot. It's like
It's a lot of work.
something has to catapult me, I guess. Like,
I mean,
if
I don't think it's anything close to the amount of work to get citizenship, though. I mean,
no, it's not. Yeah,
it's got to be a lot simpler than that.
Yeah.
That's true.
So I'm Melo. Actually, I'm really Melo.
Yeah.
I'm just using another name.
Well, and what a great last name.
Melo?
Yeah.
Yeah,
everything
that
I'm
is.
not Melo.
No, but it's a good name. It's a good name.
I like how it flows too.
So, how many hours a week? You started the business. It's been a few years now.
5 years.
And
in
I'm
January.
guessing you had to put in a shit ton of time at the beginning, and still.
Not as much anymore. Though, like I still work about 10 hours a day, 10 hours a day. I have an amazing team, so I have a team of 5.
Okay.
They're amazing architects. Really hard to put together a team like that. And I had a few exchanges that happened, but now I have a very cool people. They have
So
the
do you
same
like have all
mindset.
office out of one space?
Yeah. So we co-work, a lifetime work downtown. Yeah.
Oh, at the downtown one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we all go 3 times a week, and so we all go to the office
the
Tuesday
same time.
through Thursday. Yeah. And they are really cool. So they are really having the fun. I am while I run the business.
Yeah, because you took on the management position.
Yes.
You don't get to have fun anymore.
No. I mean, I have today we had a meeting with a client to present a concept. I didn't create. I mean, I gave them directive, the vision on what it should be, how it has to have presence on lake, and then has to scale down to the residential area. So those directives very, very vague. And they kind of know my style in the ways that we try to stay within, some kind of contemporary, modern, with a touch of what's there now in the neighborhood. So they created 3 styles, 3 options. And really, to me, even though it's not necessarily my drawings, it's still somehow my ideation.
It's your
so
product out of your company.
presenting to the client is amazing. Like, I love that. Like, when you go and you see their eyes, like,
And does the rest of the team look at you like, she didn't even do the work? Like, she's acting like she did
cheating.
this.
No, I let them present, actually.
Okay,
I let
good.
them present.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what, for me, I think it's part of, for me, recognizing that without them, I cannot keep running the business, right?
Yeah.
So I let them present. I in the shy ones don't like much, but I feel like, okay, go ahead. And then I just fill in what they leave out. And sometimes they leave out because they really want to get it quick, because they want to be done over with. But then I add in stuff. So yeah, and then there's that part. And then there is also this. But I let them run the presentation. I don't, because exactly, if even though the first ideation was mine, they developed it.
Yeah.
They applied codes. They applied zoning. So there is a reasoning behind everything, right? When you're talking about why is the 7th floor smaller? It's not, I know why, because it's zoning, but there is a conversation there that they had with themselves. How are they designing it? What side do I shorten it? So I want them to explain. It's not my child, right? It's like they've
given it away, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I will say, I'll put a plug in for Wonder Woman Construction here too. Lori runs a team of people who all love working together. They have a good time. You can tell. That it makes a big difference. So you're a good leader.
It makes a big difference, yeah. And again, we have kind of this. We need each other for things to run, right? If I'm not paying attention to the business side, if I'm not paying attention to the pipeline workflow, then they won't be there, right? So I know that I can win every award in the country that's offered. Oh, maybe some.
Are you winning awards? Have you won awards?
I have won a few awards.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, the look on her face. She's like, oh yes, I have.
I haven't won a few awards yet. But if you can bring clients if the work is not well done, right? They can even walk away without even finish it, or you're going to be a one-off.
Totally.
So if they don't do their work well, it doesn't matter how cool I am, how fun I am, how well I am
how many
getting
podcasts
projects.
you get on.
It does not matter. Let me tell you, when push comes to shove, to be like, okay, you don't deliver, right?
Yeah.
And especially in this industry, I mean, we're designing 110 units apartment buildings, 67 units. It's expensive. Like I just got a meeting today with a contractor. It's $245,000 per key to build a building.
Yeah. Per key, meaning
in a 100-unit apartment.
Yeah.
Like that is a lot.
Yeah.
Construction only.
Yeah.
Now we add soft costs. You can't play in that kind of scenario, right? So if my team is not amazing as they are, it doesn't matter how good I am at getting the projects.
Are they generally junior to you in the?
They're junior to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one advisor, so I quickly realized that I don't know a lot of things. So
I mean, there's a lot you have to know.
That's why
yeah. So what I did, I started talking to a couple of people, actually business owners, asking them, so if I need a mentor to teach me some of the business stuff, when I need an opinion of proposals, fees, but also my team can go to them directly, don't have to come through me to ask questions about code, about constructability, design, whatever. So I have this person that I have as a consultant. He's amazing. Mm-hmm. I'll say his name, Dan Nudeker. He's retired, being 40 years in architecture, had a practice before. So it's like, for me, it's like a go-to guy too, like work plans and proposals and all of that, right? And then for my team, they go directly to him if they didn't know how to, because there's a lot of things about the younger professionals that they don't want you to know they don't know stuff. Even though you know they don't know, because there's no way you know.
You weren't afraid to tell people that.
They do not want me to know they don't know. So I was like, you know what? If Dan, you can go to him, ask him. So Dan sends me an invoice. It just says hours. It doesn't say who called him. And I'm like, I really don't care to know.
Right.
As long as my team is getting better and getting more experience and being trained.
As long as the invoices stop coming so frequently.
Eventually, like less hours, for Christ's sake. No.
What did you have them do the whole thing?
But it has been honestly, it has been very affordable. It has been very helpful.
Yeah.
And I feel like my team they feel like they have a support system.
Yeah. That's really
because sometimes they ask me and I say, I don't know, ask Dan.
I mean, it's so important to say you don't know. That's what my team, they'll ask me wanting an answer, thinking I know everything.
Like, I don't know.
Which I usually do. But
yeah, I was going to say, come on, Lori.
I say, let's Google it first, and if you don't find it, let's ask Dan.
And sometimes don't you just challenge them to say, well, what do you think? Or where do you think you can find this answer? I do that on purpose so that, if I'm off the
sounds like a
deep
teacher.
end, or
it sounds like a mom. Yeah, it does. I think it's the right thing to do. But I feel like contractors, I have learned that people always talk about contractor architects, right? But a lot of contractors, if you tell them they don't know, they would be so happy to mentor you. A lot of them get irritated when you try to BS and pretend you know what you're talking about. I have walked construction sites and they're like, so that happened, there's a problem over there. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. What's that pipe?
Right.
And then like, so how would you solve that? And they are happy to tell you how I would solve this if it was this because of this and that. Like,
yeah, because they're different.
Then.
They're different worlds.
Yeah, and
I mean, we know what we're doing. You know what you're doing, and they're not exactly the same thing.
And it is. I think the times that I learned that I had experience with contractors that was not pleasant. It was more like this. It was usually when I didn't want to look like I didn't know.
Oh,
I think.
And once you just say, I know, I don't know, I have no idea.
There's so much power in it.
There is, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I think that the mentee and the mentor both benefit from the relationship. Like, if you can't really go into business without having a mentor, somebody that you kind of call when and then you kind of outgrow them and you move on to the next one. And then at the same time, I'm not going to do well in business if I don't find somebody that's to mentor at the same time. I think it's an I don't think it's something that's talked about as much.
Underrated,
it's super important.
I have an owner rep, I won't say names, but working on my project that my team literally hate him, and he is one of those guys that makes you feel miserable. Yeah, and he knows. We had this conversation. Immediately, I had a team member almost leaving my company because of him, because it was a long project. Like, I can't deal with him. He's the kind of guy that point fingers and make you feel stupid.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of those kind of guys.
And I heard stories, and I keep hearing stories, and then one day I just called him like, what the F is happening? What's going on? What do you mean? And he's always very nice to me.
Oh, of course.
And then it annoys me because my team is hurting, and he's like, hey, how are you doing? And I was like, what? In fact, I said, what's happening? What's going on here? And like, what do you mean? Like, I mean, it was this meeting and this happened. And I said, I didn't even hear from my team, which is true. I heard from the owner side. So he's the owner rep. The owner called me, like, listen, this is something happening here. And your team seems to be very bruised. And so then I came in like a big mama to like, what is going on? What is really going on? So and I said, okay, let's start from the position that you know everything and we're stupid. Okay, let's assume that's the truth. We're stupid, you know everything. After you interact with me, the stupid one, would you like to walk away with the sense of, I killed her spirit? Or would you like to walk away with the sense, I made her better? Which one we prefer? And he's like, when you put it that way, like, there's many ways you can deliver that. Even if you are right, even if you are 100% right, and I deserve to be called out because I'm stupid and I made a stupid mistake, still, what experience would you rather have with me? How would you rather me walking away and telling people, wow, you know what, I made this stupid thing and this guy helped me through it? I don't know about you, but I prefer being the second guy.
Yeah.
And he said, you're right. And he did get better, actually.
Well, you can't answer it the other way. But I kind of wish he had. I kind of wish he was such an asshole that he was like,
I don't give a shit.
No, crush him. I don't care. Give me my plans.
Give me my plan and let me get out. And that was the thing too, because as the owner rep, right, he wanted to look good at the client. But then even the client has, not even the client team, not necessarily the PM, but the client team had sensitivities as well. Like, why is this happening? You don't have to be that way. You know, we all win when we all win. No, it doesn't.
Right. No, it doesn't.
The morale
fix things.
in the team and it doesn't. So I was like, okay, I held back because I don't want to get in the middle, right? When the
it sounds like you taught
kids
them.
are playing. The kids are playing. The parents stay out. Then when the parent call the parent, that's when usually like, okay, this is not good. But in that case, it was like a lot of me hearing from my team and like, hey, and then I would talk to the PM and say, hey, is that really bad? No, it's not that bad. It's manageable. We figured it out. Like, okay, so everything good. And then that day, it was like, no, I had to do something. And it was that. I was like, I would rather be the second guy.
Yeah.
I don't
Good way to put it. That's a great analogy.
That's when you're schooling someone and they have no choice but to be like, oh, shit.
And I told him, I've never said I know everything. Our company is very young. So I'm sure there are plenty of things they have done before us that we have never even thought about doing. So here's an opportunity for you to teach us something.
Yeah.
But I think my clients have always appreciated the fact when they say, you know, what do we do here and what's going on? And I'm like, I don't know. Let's check it out.
Let's figure out
what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's usually multiple different ways to approach something too, and you kind of have to look at it.
Damaris, I'm going to just switch gears for a little bit as we wind down here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What do you do for fun and like when you're not working, or do you always work?
Oh no, I stopped that life a few years ago. So I do love golfing, even though I suck at it. I do suck at it. But I love being outside.
Everybody sucks at golfing.
Right? Unless you pay 2 times a week, which I don't have. I'm not there yet. And then 3 years ago, again, Brazilian, Minnesota, I realized I get in this mood. Like I'm cranky, my back is arching because I'm always cold, and it was 6 months, right, of the year. Now maybe 8, but I'm the same. I decided that I was gonna go face the monster, and I started doing cross-country ski.
Yeah.
And I learned the classic first, and then the skate skiing, and I love it. So I do like skiing. I like golfing. I do now have a social life because I started dating about 10 months ago. So that was like, do I have room for this in my life? But it is fun. So we do fun stuff. Walk the lake. Yeah. I love the lakes. I have to say the lake, the 3 lakes. I love going. Even now I have a new lake spot. The Nakomi's, because that's my partner.
You and everyone else. I've lived there for 20 years. There was no one at that lake 20 years ago. It was our lake.
So
it was like there were like 4 people out there, and 2 of them were my family.
It's packed now.
It's packed all the time. It became like the popular lake. Darn it, you mentioned it.
Yeah.
So and now more people are gonna go now.
Yeah.
But so I do find balance, and I try to be very intentional about self-care as well. So I have massage therapists that come to my house every Saturday. I used to not say that to people like this, so bougie, but it's what keeps me balanced,
right? Really,
and I work out.
People got something.
Yeah, I work out 3 times a week, 4 times a week.
Yeah,
and I love work hard, and then I get my massage, and so I have a pretty I say integrated life.
There you go.
I like it.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
People say life and work balance does not exist for entrepreneurs, but you can integrate them, and that's what I'm doing.
That's exactly it. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, is that fancy talk for like mash a little tiny bit of something good in every now and again?
It's like this. I think it's this. For instance, at 3 p.m. on a day like today, I could have said, I'm going to go play a party, right? But that likely means at 10 p.m. after my daughter goes to bed, I had to come and do whatever I was going to do at 3.
Right.
And that's what I call integration. It's like you still can have fun.
Good.
As an entrepreneur, especially because you do have that freedom. You don't have to go explain your boss, well, you're leaving at 3.
Yeah.
Oh, in my group, we really don't, actually. We don't have to explain. As long as you do that
as long as the work gets done. Yeah.
Totally integration. I totally get it.
And sometimes that comes with those perks of in the middle of the day, Friday morning ski sessions with my girlfriends.
You ever try ice fishing?
I have never.
Okay, well.
Can we walk in the water? I don't want to drive on the ice. I feel like
you
that's too dangerous.
Do both.
You can start with the walking, but yes, it's perfectly safe to drive.
I have a question about that, by the way.
Yeah.
So, okay, you want to drive on the ice, cool. But do you have to pick the big old trucks? Can you just have a sedan? I said
no, a sedan. Yeah,
not really.
I always feel like
the bigger the truck, the better.
Biggest truck
I know.
to be on the top of the ice.
You take a small snowmobile or something.
Yeah, I'm with you because I go out there and I'm like, there's 12 inches of ice, and what are you doing driving that?
It's like
F-350 out here or whatever. It's craziness.
Yeah. And there's another problem too. I can't be quiet for too long, so I don't think anybody would ask me to go fishing.
Well, you might want to because it gets pretty boring out there.
Yeah.
So you have to talk, right?
You have to.
There's a fine line. There's a balance.
That's because you're such a fisherman, just like my wife.
My dad will fish for hours and maybe not say anything. I actually enjoy talking too, but you can't over-talk.
Scare the fish.
You gotta find the balance between too much talking, and you gotta spend some time.
You can come with me.
Was I scared?
Is that true? That you scare the fish if you talk too much? They go away.
That's BS.
See, the people try to talk, shut up instead of saying that. They say you scare the fish.
Yeah.
And like,
okay. Yeah. That's the way I play the music on the boat, and people are like, you got to turn that down. And I'm like, I don't think so, because you're not catching any more fish with it off.
Not really. I mean, you can't be, if you're driving the boat around. There's ways you can, but I think talking is not really. The fish aren't down there thinking, oh, what are they talking about?
There's people up there.
Yeah. No. So I never really explored fishing that much.
Okay.
We're gonna have to get going here.
I would love to.
But I'm gonna just add one little thing.
We have 1 minute.
Something you said earlier when you first started, and you met that architect that you didn't know was an architect, and you really looked up to her. Mm-hmm. I still love being around strong women like that. That gives me
a vibe.
Yeah. It's and I know exactly what you're saying, and I still love it. It's always something I noticed when I was young, and I still love being around strong women.
It makes a difference. On Tuesday was a conference, the Women Elevating Women conference, and it was a majority black women as well. But it's like these women are doing all kinds of stuff, and it's like just being in the room, right? I just sit here and breathe this air, and it's inspiring and it's powerful because it is. Especially now, I know that what you see over there is not it, right? There's a lot of hardship and hurdles that they go through, but they are there, and they are powerful, and they are inspiring other people and happy. And so that is, to me, is a need. I have to be exposed to that so often.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah. All
right, Damaris, I think we're going to have you back some other time to talk longer.
I'd love to.
Yeah, I think you could fill another couple hours, I'm sure.
We should talk about my journey getting here without speaking English. I would love to tell this story.
Yeah, we can talk about life. We can make
it's
it
funny.
I mean, we slipped in some construction stuff too, but anyway,
Sounds
thank you
good.
so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I
thank
really
you.
enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for listening to another amazing episode of the most important show out there. Before we go, we want to thank you again for supporting us and for all the lovely things you say about us on social media. Shows like this grow with help from people like you. And remember, keep sending us your questions. We really appreciate the stories and the great insights we gain from our audience. We also want to remind you that you can buy shirts, hats, and more at JoContractorShow.com. Be good to each other, and we'll catch you on the next show.